Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pokemon Black. We have a little bit of extra stuff to do, such as fighting a certain someone who's from Sinnoh.
Cynthia! I can't wait until she gets a magic card in a Universes Beyond set. It's going to be like $500.
Dude, it would be very, very funny if they ended up making a Magic the Gathering Pokemon set, considering that Wizards of the Coast originally made the Pokemon trading card game, and then the Pokemon Company realized, wait, we don't need somebody to make this game for us, and we like money. So they left Wizards of the Coast.
You know, it's already funny that they did a Final Fantasy set, considering Final Fantasy already has a perfectly valid trading card game made by Magic the Gathering players. So, you know. You're right, that would be hilarious, Ted. Alright, so... I think Cynthia's team is basically the same as what it was in Gen 4, just higher leveled.
I think it might even
higher
be the
level.
same levels, because I'm pretty sure there's a Cynthia rematch you can do where she's about this strength in maybe Platinum. But yeah, no, it is basically the same thing. The only thing that this rematch confirms is that Cynthia is indeed in the top 1%, because everybody else who lives in this town is filthy fucking rich. And like the family next door is like, I think they're called like the Riches or something like that, and they're all
That's a little on the nose.
yeah, they're all super snobby and rich, and they're like, oh, I'm so bored with my life of decadence. Oh, I need to beat up a 12-year-old.
I'm not really sure how you become a world globe-trotting Pokemon champion and not being in the top 1%, because I don't know if you noticed, but traveling is fucking expensive, man.
Not if you're flying on your Pidgey.
I can question that, considering that you get the equivalent of like $50 for winning each Pokemon battle. So in order to afford that kind of beach house,
That is only if you fight 4 Pokemon trainers, my friend.
she's the
rich.
champion. She fights the most powerful trainers on the planet.
Eat the rich is not just a social cry in the Pokemon universe. It's a way of life for professional Pokemon trainers. Find the richest Pokemon trainer you can and take half their money by beating them.
And if you eat the richies, that's cannibalism.
So when you lose in Pokemon, you lose a percentage of your money and then are sent back to the Pokemon Center. In old games, it's half. I believe it's something like 25% in newer games. So when you beat, assuming everybody else follows by the same rules that you do, and I believe Cynthia drops like 10,000 Poké Dollars or something like that, so that's the equivalent of like about $100. Listen, you're not getting that much money by beating up each individual Pokemon.
Dude,
trainer.
she just keeps most of her money in the bank like a smart person.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but if you think about it, if at most you're getting $100 per Pokemon battle,
That
right?
means she's carrying around $400 in cash for some reason. Why would she do that?
Because she's rich!
Oh, god damn it, it's this thing.
Melodic is a really cool Pokemon. Why does it have to be a pain in the ass to get every single time?
I hate fighting the goddamn thing.
We brought this up actually in an earlier part where we were talking about like obscure things that you can find in games, but Ryan brought up Phoebus at the very end of that part. Phoebus fucking sucks.
The Phoebus, that was a Gen 3 Magikarp Gyarados situation, right?
Yes. It's slightly less obnoxious in later gens. In Gen 3, there are like 4 to 6 tiles on the longest route in the game with a gigantic river where you can catch Phoebus. So out of thousands of river tiles, there are like 5 that you can catch this thing on, and it's not 100% chance, so you should check each tile at least 2 or 3 times. I tried to do it once. I spent an hour on it, and I gave up because life's too short. Oh, this is a Gen 5 Pokemon, so she definitely swapped something for Braviary here.
Yes.
So it's not the exact same team.
Well, we did it. We beat Cynthia.
Yeah.
I remember watching a room randomizer of someone playing this game, And as soon as they left their
boy.
house, they landed right in Cynthia's.
I'm sorry, 15,400 Poke Yen. So not $100, $154.
Yeah, she's just casually carrying around $600 in her pocket like it's no big deal. Sure.
Doesn't everybody? Oh, Cynthia.
Wait, who's this?
That's
One of the Elite
Chantal.
Four.
She's one of the Elite Four. She's a, world-renowned mystery writer. So at the very least, it makes sense why she's filthy rich.
She's hanging out with Cynthia. Maybe Cynthia's her house guest.
Hey, Ryan. Good day, isn't it? The bell has 3 bars. Good signal.
Oh, right. Fighting the champion, the actual champion, not N, is at post-game boss. I forgot.
Do you have to talk to Alder here before you can do the Elite Four fight?
I believe so. I can't remember off the top of my head, so it's not like it's a long trek. So
No, and if you have a rappel, you can get up here with no problem. You already fought all the trainers anyway.
yeah. You're not just gonna fly? Okay, whatever, buddy.
Fucking idiot.
Maybe he just enjoys the exercise.
Has anybody ever figured out what this statue is supposed to be of in the middle here? Because it's like vaguely human shaped, but I can't tell.
It looks like a broken, eroded statue of a warrior with a weapon of some kind and a shield.
I'm not smart enough to make a Mystic Quest joke out of that.
What?
Nothing. I've said too much.
We don't mention the name of the game that must not be named, John.
Okay, well, it's not fucking Voldemort. You can say I can say Mystic Quest. Just
Is it really that bad?
No, it's not. It's just dreadfully dull. Like that game. It perfectly functions, I guess is a way of putting it. It sets out what it means to do, and does it very well. But what it means to do is be an introductory RPG that is bare bones and very repetitive.
If Pokemon is baby's first RPG, then a Mystic Quest is an RPG for actual babies.
Great music though.
So we have to rematch the entire Elite Four.
You now have their actual team instead of the weaker ones. The weaker ones, yeah.
The one of the things that later Pokemon games do start to establish with their gym leader rematches and stuff is that the gym leaders do have fully leveled teams. They just don't use them against normal gym challengers because that's not the point of gyms.
Yeah, this was always a lore thing about the Pokemon universe that I appreciated. And it was something that I kind of hoped that Scarlet and Violet would do, where, like, the game would know what levels you roughly are and would train, like, cater the gym challenges to that versus, oh, if you do all of Penny and Arden's quests first, and then do the gyms after that, you just curb stomp the first, like, 6,
Yeah, unless you, like, deliberately go out of your way to, like, do an end playthrough where you use only local Pokemon that you just caught. Yeah.
Yeah, it's... I mean, I'm
These
sure...
Pokemon are cage-free and farm-fresh.
No, they're wild. That's the point.
I'm sure that having a dynamic level system for the gyms would probably be somewhat difficult, but I think it would be neat just because it would also just improve replay value.
It's not even just the levels that you would have to change with the Pokemon. It's also the number of Pokemon each gym has in its roster.
I think that part's fairly simple because, like, they know, like, at what level, like, when you're level, like, 10-ish, that's gym 1, and so on and so forth. And so they can be like, okay, by the time you're level 40, we know that the gym should have 4.
The other
Pokemon.
problem, though, is that if you were to do that, you would also create a situation where all of the local Pokemon are useless to that particular gym.
That is true, yes. That's unfortunately, I think, part of an open world. That's like a general open world issue. Like
Open world games have struggled with how and how often to implement level scaling since the beginning of the genre, and no game has ever done it perfectly.
Yeah, like some games try, like for example, the Zelda games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. As you do more story progression stuff, you will find mooks that are stronger and have better stuff to find.
It's not even just that. There's an invisible experience gain system that happens whenever you do a lot of stuff. Story stuff contributes largely to it, but also just killing enemies makes it so that stronger enemies will eventually start to appear. So you could theoretically just run around the open world grinding bokoblins for ages, and eventually the stronger bokoblins and stuff would start to appear.
I did not know that about Breath of the Wild.
I don't recommend doing it, but it's a thing that you can do. I think the number of shrines you've completed also contributes. It's just like general gameplay eventually contributes to you scaling up. Of course, it's a lot easier to do level scaling in a game without actual player levels because the spread of power between weak to strong doesn't have to be as wide, you know?
It's also like more possible for you in a game without like literal player levels to, like, if you are good enough, you can beat a harder enemy, like if you dodge well enough and whatnot, versus in Pokemon, if your team is 20 levels lower than your opponent's team, you probably will just lose.
Yeah, you're just toast. It's just not going to happen. But, you know, Scarlet and Violet went with a mostly static level system because I guess they don't necessarily want you to go in any direction that you feel like. At least not early on.
Well, that's also not necessarily bad game design either.
Yeah.
Though, but
I mean, most of the enemy levels in Fallout New Vegas are entirely static. The game is open world. It's designed so that you can go off in your own direction if you commit to the bit, but you're supposed to follow the path of the story. And the game will reward you with some alternative events if you go off the rails and like get to New Vegas early or whatever, but like you're not expected to make it through that field of death claws. You're expected to go the other way and visit all the points of interest along the way and organically get introduced to all the different factions in that manner. It's basically there for replay value. The open world possibilities. Your first playthrough is almost inevitably going to be following the train tracks. You're not on the rails themselves, but you are following the rails, you know? Scarlet and Violet just do the same thing, but they provide 3 different rail pathways that you can follow and jump between as the mood takes you.
that also does kind of muddy the progression a bit, though, because again, if you go and do everything for Penny first as you go, then
then half the other 2 tracks are under-leveled for you, yeah.
Yeah. So, I know it's hard. Like, it would take a lot of work to provide a dynamic level scaling thing. There are definitely some things that they wouldn't be able to level scale and probably shouldn't. Like, some trainer battles would probably be like, this Pokemon's level 20 and it will always be level 20. Like, that's fine. I know that it would be a hard thing to do, but if they want to commit to making open world Pokemon a thing, I think it would add a lot to making the game feel more fleshed out, personally.
I guess we'll see what they do the next time around.
We'll see. We also don't really know how open ZA is going to be, because Arceus wasn't really an open world game. It was more like for individual sandboxes instead.
Yeah, it was the Dragon Age Inquisition of Pokemon games.
Yeah, so, and ZA doesn't, from what I've seen, looks very structured. Like, this is Area 1, this is Area 2, this is Area 3, and you're probably going through them in order, so I doubt it will be that open. So we'll have to wait until they inevitably announce Gen 10.
I guess we'll see. they do have all of the feedback from Scarlet and Violet to go by, and people did really like Scarlet and Violet when it was running properly anyway. So, you know, I don't expect it to be too different, but I do expect them to, you know, tweak the formula a bit, you know?
Yeah, so there's the frustrating thing, though. Scarlet and Violet did outsell Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield still are, like, very close in total sales numbers. And I'm sure they have other methods of tracking, you know, player happiness. Like, how often are people playing it online still? How long do they play? You know, surveys, things like that. But with that said, I don't know how much they're going to take feedback from Scarlet and Violet into account for two reasons. One is the cynical reason, whereas, you know, you could just say, oh, if they're going to make $1 bajillion making a bad game, they'll just do that. And I don't want to be cynical, so I'm not going to base my entire argument on that. The other one is that every Pokemon game is so different that they might just decide they want to do something completely, like, off the wall in the next gen and not evolve on Scarlet and Violet because they'd rather do something else. This has happened countless times where it's just like, oh, I really liked what they were doing in this gen, and then the next gen's completely different. The only times I can really think of where the generations stayed, like, structurally very similar are, like, 3 to 4, and that's it, actually.
But we'll take on the champion in the next part of Pokemon Black, so see you guys all later. Bye.